Record to the cloud. Okay. All right. Tell me this really quick, Barbie. I don't know how long this call is. I don't want to speak too long. Is it 30 minutes or an hour?
It's whatever you say, whatever. Hi, Julie. Say whatever you need to say, as long as it takes you to say. So ideally 30 to 45 minutes, but I feel like let me introduce you. First of all, Moira started in the diamond run like everybody else in this group last summer. It was this like crazy idea to do this diamond run, and Moira
2 summers ago
on a team call. So not everyone, 2 years ago. Okay. Not everyone has heard your story. So you can tell your story a little bit. And she went diamond during the diamond run. Fast forward 1 year later, she's a 9-star diamond coach. And I believe that you're 1-star in your second business center.
Yes.
What the heck? And on top of that, we just found out this week that she is number 7 in the top 10. That gives me chills. And I sent Moira a message and I said, I know that if this is what you want, because it may not be what you want, or it may be, you
totally what I want.
Okay. So I said, if it's what you want, you could totally be the top coach. And the thing is, it takes time to build up to that, but I know that you are that person that has the potential to do that. So guys and girls, I have my pen and paper ready. I'm ready to take notes. We have the recording from the last call. So, you do what you want. What I loved hearing about you and what I actually messaged you about was how are these, number one, where are you finding people? Like, how are you finding people on social media? What do these interactions look like, right? What are the words that you say? I loved what you put in the little voice memo. And then, how are you finding people that are so like you? Because what's so special about you is that your team is rocking it just as much as you are. Yeah. So with that said, I'm going to be quiet. Take it away, girl. I'm so thrilled for everyone on this call to hear you speak. Okay, I'm going to
Thanks, Barbie. Thanks so much for that.
Here at 11:45 because I have an appointment. Bye.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. So we're going to do monthly marketing plan, and I really want to get to that, but I feel like what Barbie just said, like there's so much that I just want to answer that.
You know what? Forget it. Forget all my questions. Just do what you need. I totally forgot that you were doing a monthly marketing plan. Just do your thing.
Well, no, I can get to that. I can do it all. I can totally do it all.
All right.
Because I feel like there's so many big concepts that are so important. So Josh Spencer just was on my team call last night, which was so fun. And it's so fascinating I woke up just thinking so much about like, gosh, the mindset behind what it takes to be the number one coach. And the mindset that like he had and that I share that it's fun to find similarities with top coaches. And, such a big part of that starts with like, there was a belief that I could do it. I didn't necessarily have it on top coach or top 10, but there was a belief that I could be at the top somewhere, that I could, be earning these ridiculous amounts of income and have this life of freedom, that I could make this kind of impact in the world. And I think the other thing that Josh and I both have is that, there's no excuses. It's like things come up, they come up just as much for us as they do for you. But we don't allow them to be excuses, and we push through them as quick as we can. And we get over it, and we do the personal development, we do the workshop, we go to our coach, we just work through it. And you have to use every failure as an opportunity to learn, which is a lot what we talked about last night. And this is a perfect example. I have a very local team, and they're growing really fast. And so people are starting to step on each other's toes, right? And I had one of my diamonds say to me, she's like, I'm not at Success Club. I'm only at SC8 because 4 people that I've been talking to for the last year signed up with so-and-so, another coach on our team. And I was like, oh, that hurts. Like, that sucks. And I saw her today and I was like, listen, I got to call you out on something. This is going to be hard to hear, but you got to look at what you're doing wrong. If these 4 people that you've been talking to for a year signed up with our teammate, why? Why was that more attractive to them? What is going on in their challenge group over there that people are talking about? I have lost people. I have lost people to these coaches, to my coaches. And I have looked at it just that way. I'm like, shit, I better up my game. Like I better learn from my own coaches and get good at whatever they're good at. Nobody comes into this being good at anything. You know, nobody, Melanie Mitro, Amy Silverman, they didn't come in with like any type of expertise in anything. So that's got to tell you right there that anything you want to learn is 100% teachable. Like you can learn it. You know, Josh was talking last night about, I loved how he got to this place in his business where he's able to say, it was all about me and I was a horrible leader and I wasn't doing anything for my team. And then it was so interesting to hear him kind of talk 20 minutes later about like, he's like, leadership is my jam. It's what I'm awesome at. It's what I rock at. You know, I mentor people. And I was like, did you just hear like that you went from that being your ultimate failure and your downfall to it being your greatest success because you taught it to yourself, which means you go on YouTube and you search videos and you watch video after video after video and you do training after training after training. Like you have to take initiative in your business. You can't look at something. I remember very clearly a year ago being like, okay, I want to do something. Like I want to get up there and being like, okay, I am not recruiting coaches. I don't know how to recruit coaches. I can get challengers. I don't know how to recruit coaches. And looking at Raina and Bonnie and being like, and Amy, and feeling like I'll never be able to do that. Like, how do they do that? And just judging them and, you know, whatever we do when we want to make ourselves feel better about our own failures. And then realizing very quickly, though, they figured it out. They didn't know how to do that when they got here. In the first 6 months that Bonnie Engel was coaching, she wasn't recruiting 30 coaches a month. She was probably recruiting 1 or 2. So she figured it out. And if she can figure it out, I can figure it out. And so you have to just have that mindset that anything is possible in this business because it truly is. And there's not many opportunities like that in the world at all. So a lot of, you know, and it's funny because I think the last call I did for the Diamond Push, it was me talking a lot about how like I started this business and I would send, you know, 300 invites out a month and I would do that in a week's time. And a lot of, I think that was, like we were getting messages that were kind of like, well, gosh, that kind of makes me feel like a robot. Like that's not very fun. And I'm like, and so I want to make sure that you understand, like my heart is here to help people. But yes, you have to work really freaking hard. And as one of my friends says, embrace the suck and get through the tough spot. Because if I can sit down and put my blinders on and send 50 messages a day, and you know, it's not just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. There's a very real message that I just sit down. Person number 1, it's Wednesday morning. I'm going to invite 50 people today. Person number 1 looks like, oh my gosh, girl, how are you? I'm super excited. Like this is the follow-up. I'm super excited about this next challenge group. I don't know about you, but like spring break had me so not on my game. I feel awful this week. And I'm super excited about jumping back in and having this group to be accountable to. It's going to be a great group. You know, we're kicking it off with a 3-day cleanse because it's kind of like the new year and everybody's ready to do that. I'm so excited that by this time next week, I'll be feeling better. I would love to get you involved. Are you ready? Are you game? Are you ready for me to help you, help you with your goals? It's a very authentic message that has to do with present tense, the reality of what's happening with the time of year, the challenge group, the story, everything. And then I always end it with, how was your spring break? Were you guys up in the mountains this year? Send. I obviously don't send the mountains part to 50 people, but that's the one sentence I then change. And it's not always just one sentence. Sometimes I'm adding 2 or 3 sentences. Sometimes I'm taking things apart, but there's a framework to the center of that message that's the same. And that makes this whole process a wee bit easier. But I can tell you, messaging 50 people a day is not for the faint of heart. Like, it's hard work. It makes me want to throw my head against a wall and I can't see straight, and it's not fun. But here's what happens. You do that for 4 days in a row. Say you just did that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days out of a month. All of a sudden, by Wednesday, and I'm almost trying not to respond to messages because I try really hard to not to respond until I get the 50 out. But then after I'm like, oh my gosh, I hate this job. This is awful. This is miserable. Then it's like, oh my gosh, Moira, I'm so glad you reached out. It couldn't be more perfect timing. Oh my gosh, Moira, thank you so much for following up with me. Oh my gosh, you have no idea how much this message means to me. Oh my gosh, you just messaged me at the perfect time. Then I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just get so freaking excited to help all these people, you know? And here's the reality. I sent 200 messages out. Maybe 10 of them responded to me. I'm not thinking even for a moment about the 190 people that blew me off. I'm thinking about the 10 people that are ready. And I'm thinking about how much this is going to change their life. And the messages are going back and forth. And we're talking about their goals and what didn't work and what's going to work. And just this whole thing that sets my soul on fire, because it is a solution that works for people and it changed my life. And I have the opportunity to pass that on. So that's kind of what that looks like. And so this is what's going to lead me into the whole monthly marketing plan. So I came across a Melanie Mitro video in the very beginning of coaching, when we all feel like we are drowning in completely being overwhelmed by all things coaching and we don't know what direction to go in, right? It's just like so much information. And I know that a framework or a system takes the stress away. It's like, and I do that constantly to this day. It's like, I'm constantly feeling like, oh my gosh, this is getting to be too much. I can't keep my head above water. And then I'm like, new system. I need to implement some things into my system. And then it's just like, that's just what I do. Then I'm taking care of this thing that's making me drown every Thursday from 10:15 to 10:45. That's when I'm going to do that thing. Then I don't have to worry about it. So the system is key. And so this is a system. And so what it looks like is I literally have this calendar. I think this is the second one I've printed out in 2 years. It's a blank calendar. Okay. So you don't have to have a new one every single month. It's a blank calendar. And interestingly enough, this has worked geniusly well for me, apparently. And then when I was at New Leader Conference this past year, Melanie presented, and she presented this exact same thing. And so it was so neat to have this reiterated for me. And when you see her in person and you're sitting next to her during the whole New Leader Conference and then hearing from her, well, this is just my blank sheet of paper that I filled in, Barbie, but it's Melanie Mitro's monthly marketing system. And it's what I've used from the beginning. And just to backtrack a little bit, you guys, because I always like to know people's timelines. It gives me lots of hope. So I was in Barbie's Diamond Dash fall of 2015, and I hit Diamond, I think, in November. I ended a year later, 7-star, and now I'm 9-star and number 7. There's a lot of numerology in there, I think. And to tell you where I was at when I was in Barbie's Diamond, like I had decided to start coaching in July. I think that Diamond Dash was like September, October-ish. I literally was trying to do so much that I was like, what's Empire? Who's Barbie? How did I end up in this training? Where am I? Like I literally was like, had no freaking clue what I was doing. But here's also the mindset behind this. I was so naive and new that I also remember looking at my calendar going like, okay, so this diamond thing starts on this day and ends on this day, so I'll be diamond by that day. I completely had a very naive assumption that if I was going to do diamond training, that meant I was going to be a diamond by the end of it, 100% non-negotiable. That's just what happened. And because I was naive and I believed it, it happens. I mean, I'm so big on what you believe, you achieve 150,000%. So you have to, and if you don't believe it, then you gotta like get some personal development under your belt, work through some stuff. Don't just read your personal development passively. Read what you need. Don't read You Are a Badass because it makes you feel happy and good. If you are struggling with recruiting, read a recruiting book, like do some recruiting training. Like you've got to work on what your downfalls are. I went to Tony Robbins my first 6 months into coaching because I just knew it was going to help on every level of everything that I was doing. And I didn't have the time. I didn't have the money. I probably shouldn't have left my kids. It was my son's birthday. And I was like, you know what? moving my business forward rapidly is going to make more of an impact on my children's life. And I need to go. I need to invest in my business. So let me get back to this monthly marketing plan. So let's start with the challenge group. That's the easiest thing to start with, right? So you do have to look ahead, like I did this past month, because if you run challenge groups with like 3 weeks of challenge, 1 week of prep, back to back, sometimes it's going to be a little off because of holidays. You know, you're not going to start a challenge group on December 23rd. So you're going to have to adjust the sales a little bit here or there. So this past month, for example, I have a challenge group in their final week right now. And spring break just ended. And I was like, okay, wait, my challenge groups, like this stuff isn't working. I've got Punta Cana, we've got Easter. Like, how can I do this best? So I have a challenge group. Normally it would have started this past Monday for prep. And might confuse you. I hope it doesn't. We normally always do 7 days of prep. I also feel like 7 days of prep kind of drags it out a little bit for people. So what I decided to do, because my last month's challenge group is still in their final week, so there was going to be overlap, right? I decided this month that I was going to email people prep. First off, I decided I was going to do a 3-day cleanse after Easter. So I'm doing it, we're on day 3. So I was going to do a 3-day refresh starting the Monday after Easter and spring break. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And that leaves me 4 days to prep them. So I'm prepping them via email this month, which I've never done. I'm sending an email Thursday. They're getting one Friday. They're getting one Saturday. They're getting one Sunday. So then that works because my last month's challenge group is wrapping and I can start the next one on Monday. So it just all rolls into each other. So again, that's never happens, but I'm just telling you that sometimes you have to get creative with what you're doing. So this is what it's going to look like. And pull out your calendar because you're probably going to want to scratch this stuff down. So if you're starting a challenge group the 3rd Monday of the month, say I'm looking at March 2017. So maybe flip back to March. If you have a calendar in front of you, this will help immensely. Flip back to March and look at March 20th, right? That's a Monday. You're starting the challenge group. So let's backpedal to the top of the month. Saturday, March 4th. On that day, you are going to create the group and you're going to get ready to launch kind of like your ad campaign or your invite campaign. And so Monday, March 6th rolls around. And for me, it's the top of the month. I have a big fat goose egg for Success Club points, and I want to get some points on the board. So that's why you're starting your challenge group the 3rd Monday of the month, because now it's time to invite 2 weeks previous. You got to give yourself at least 2 weeks because we all know it takes forever to get people to pull the trigger, and then it takes forever for them to get their Shakeology. So Monday, March 6th, I'm inviting 50 people a day. So 50 people a day Monday, 50 people a day Tuesday, 50 people a day Wednesday, 50 people a day Thursday. By March 9th, I've invited 200 people. I don't do this every single month. I mean, some months look different than others, but I'm telling you, if you want to be where I'm at, this is how you're going to get there. So you've invited 200 people to a challenge group by Thursday. I can guarantee you've got Success Club 10 in the bag. You may not have hit it yet, but you've got so many conversations going from 200 invitations that you're going to hit Success Club 10. Okay. So that first week is all about inviting. Now, here's where there's like some overlap. What you're doing is I also am starting, let me see what was in the chat really quick. Do you form these people the month before, or are most of these cold? Most of them now are follow-ups because I've got so many people in the pipeline, but every single month I'm adding people to my network and forming them. Yes, and then you would invite them the next month, okay? So you want to build the relationship first, 100%. I re-implemented free groups. You know, I did them in the beginning and then I got away from them because frankly, I felt like here's an excuse for you. I felt like I was too busy. And if I'm hitting Success Club 40 every month and getting coaches, why do I need to run free groups? I didn't feel like I had to run free groups because I was doing well. Melanie Mitro is a machine and she's amazing and we can all learn a lot from her. She runs like 2 free groups a month. She's the #1 coach in the network. She's doing what I'm not doing, and I need to be doing what she's doing. So when I saw her in Los Angeles and realized that she is still doing that she never graduated to the point of I don't need to do free groups, then I needed to humble myself and start running some free groups. And so I decided in the beginning of the year that I was going to start doing a free group every single month. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Freemiums used to stress me out so much. And I remember one time I was like, a month after month would go by and I'd be like, I got to run a freemium. I so much on a freemium. It's been so long. I've got it. I should do this. I should do this. And it felt like such a monkey on my back. I put up a post one Friday afternoon about running this free group. I created like the copy and stuff and like the post, and literally said that I was going to run this group about the pursuit of happiness. And I came up with like some stuff that we were going to do and what the focus was going to be and the dates. And we were going to start Monday and it was going to be 5 days. And I posted it. I didn't have any free group. I didn't have it. I didn't have the content. I hadn't created it. I had done nothing. So sometimes you got to light your own fire. All of a sudden there were 25 people that were like, I want in, I want in, I want in. And I was like, shit, I need to come up with some content, and I literally posted that Friday afternoon and we started our freemium Monday morning. So sometimes like it's a freemium. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to make it super complicated. Just do it. Just take action. So I say that because my free group, so if you're looking at March, my free group is going to start the first Monday of the month. So if I run a 5-day or 7-day free group, that first week of the month, I'm forming people and building relationships and hopefully bringing them in. They're my cold market, or they're, people that haven't been in a challenge group. They're also probably people from my challenge groups, but new blood is coming in. And it's not just forming over Messenger. It's truly me adding value to their life and them earning their trust. So I love Anita Myron popped up at our Super Saturday here in Charleston this past one. And our Super Saturday is like so small. So it was super fun to see her there. And I loved what she said, because people are like, well, then how do you invite? Again, don't over freaking complicate it. Like, people get so tied up in the details. Don't overcomplicate, like, what's the transition from free group to challenger? Just message them, put a post up in the group. And as Anita said, you have earned the right to invite them. You just gave them your time, your value, your expertise, your encouragement, all of that for free for 5 to 7 days. You've earned the right to say, hey, I run these other groups that are a lot more in depth. And so I just did one that was a sugar challenge, no sugar, breaking like your sugar addiction. And it was so easy for me to, throughout the whole group, somebody would be like, do you always put half a banana in your whatever or something? And I'd be like, well, in the program that I follow, a half a banana is actually a serving of fruit. So if you're eating a whole banana, you're actually getting, for me, that would be my fruit allotment for the day. And they're like, what nutrition plan? Like, it's so easy to plant the seeds throughout a freemium for a challenge group. So again, free group the first week, okay? You're inviting to your challenge group, and that's a lot of follow-up. So say you're just following up with people that first week. In week 2, before week 3, before you've started your challenge group, you've got all those people from your free group to invite to your challenge group still. So the idea is that you're always, always, always inviting to something. So for example, my challenge group is getting ready to start right now. So, and this is the flow of it. Again, it changes every month. I'm not doing my business opportunity call at the same time this month because I'll be in Punta Cana. I would normally schedule a sneak peek and a business opportunity call for I usually do the business opportunity call on a Wednesday night and then follow it up with a sneak peek group for the next 3 days. So as soon as my challenge group is like buttoned up and I've got all the people that are getting ready to start, I switch gears and I start inviting to my coach opportunity and sneak peek. And you got to have these things on your schedule, because that's like 80% of the battle. Is it forces me to do it. Like right now I'm looking at this and I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to do a sneak peek next week. Like, so what do I need to do today? I need to sit down in front of my computer and talk to as many people as I can about the sneak peek. And you have to set goals for yourself. Meredith Ganow and she's my coach, she just messaged me the other day and she's like, okay, So who do you want to commit with me? We're going to send 20 new invites a day to the coach sneak peek. So we have 100 new people in there by the time we go to Punta Cana. I'm like, game on, let's do it. You know, let's hold each other accountable. So you constantly have to set these little number goals for yourself. But again, having that free group, then the challenge group start, then the coach opportunity call, that's something almost every week of the month. So you're constantly being fueled to invite. And the other layer of this, which is really important, is that you're jabbing on your social media the whole time. So when I'm sending challenge group invites to 200 people, what do you think I'm doing on my social media? I'm sharing results. I'm sharing transformations. I'm sharing my excitement about the group and how amazing it is. And just, it's all challenge group, challenge group, challenge group, challenge group. So next week, when I start inviting, or this week, next week, there's a little bit of a lull. When I start truly inviting a ton of people to this coach opportunity call / sneak peek, what do you think I'm sharing about on social media? I'm sharing about coaching. I'm sharing about how excited I am that our coach training starts at the top of every month. You know, you have to like plant these seeds. So there's a method to the madness. And that is, I know a lot of new coaches struggle, at least a lot of my new coaches struggle with social media. And I have girls that want this so badly and are doing so much of the hard work with starting conversations and reaching out and getting out of their comfort zone. And they're doing nothing on social media. And like I had to tell them yesterday, I'm like, you guys, this is getting painful for me. It's getting painful for me to watch you want this and work it so hard. But without that social media piece of the jab, I don't think it's ever going to happen. I just don't. I don't think you can be really successful without having that layer of social media in there. Because when I invite someone to my challenge group, it's not that hard for me to even say at times like, hey girl, have you seen my posts about the groups that I run? There's an 80% chance she's going to be like, yeah, I have seen something about that. Tell me more. Versus just some random person that you don't know that even works out messaging you about a challenge group. Like, you're like, why am I going to join your challenge group? I don't think you work out. Like, because you're not talking about it on social media. Let me answer these questions really quick. How far in advance do you invite to a free group? Again, I don't overthink my free groups. If I have a free group starting, it's always on a Monday. So usually maybe that like Thursday before, I'll just send out a ton of messages and I'll post about it on my social media. Maybe Wednesday, but a handful of days, maybe 5 days. Free groups shouldn't be that hard to get people in because they're free. I know in the beginning, one of the most successful groups that I had, and again, it's good to see kind of the numbers behind this. I did, it was a sugar group. It was a break your sugar addiction kind of group where I basically it was really in depth because I was a new coach and I just overdid it. I was like giving them a food plan, giving them a grocery list. I mean, there was a lot to it. And I was posting in a ton of mommy groups about it. And I would post about this free break your sugar addiction group. And I had like 30 or 40 people be like, add me in 3 or 4 different mommy groups. And so I had like over 100 people in that first group that I did that I really barely knew any of them. And what I'll tell you is, I don't know if one of them purchased a challenge pack after that, meaning the first right after that. But I can guarantee you out of that 100 and some people, probably 40 of those people came on board sometime in the next 18 months. Like, it's never a quick thing, you know? I built relationships with a lot of those women through my social media. And at one point or another, they finally said yes. So it is a long process. Let me think about what else I've got here. Really, that's it. I think it's just the flow of the free group, the challenge group. And this is the other thing that I'll do a lot is if you're doing a challenge group for 3 weeks and then a week of prep, have those people go through the challenge group for 3 weeks and then do a 3-day refresh with them while you're prepping the new group. You know, so you're doing a 3-day refresh Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, of the prep for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for the next group. And I think the easiest way in the world, and again, this is something that like kind of kills me when people are like struggling to hit Success Club. Everyone can get 3 people on a 3-day cleanse. It's so easy to get people to commit to 3 days. It's not as easy to get somebody to commit to a nutrition plan and Shakeology and exercising every day for 30 days and being part of this accountability group. Everyone, you can find 3 people in the world that are willing to spend $160 on a 3-day cleanse. So what I do is I set them up with a 3-day refresh challenge pack. And so it's a really easy way to get people, you know, you get points on the board, but get people in. I 100% believe it's the best thing for them. I do not ever think it's the best thing for me to set anybody up with a 3-day refresh, and then after 3 days, they're going 100% back to exactly what they were doing before. If they have a month's supply of Shakeology, they get to do this 3-day refresh and have Shakeology to continue with. And then their feet are probably wet enough by that point that they're starting to get a little bit more interested in the fitness. And his smile is just like lighting me up over there. So it's a really good way to ease people into the challenge group. Do you no longer provide meal plans and shopping lists for your free group, or do you? Every group is different. You know, I wing it, really. I just wing my free groups. I think next month I'm going to do like a 7-day abs challenge where I just go live in the group and do 5 or 10 minutes of abs every day. Because I put up there about 2 weeks ago, I put up a post about what free group would you want? Sugar, abs, mastering your mindset, and I think clean eating and recipes. And the funny thing was that they were all like equal. Like I had like 25 people wanted each one. And I was like, well, I guess those are my next 4 months of premiums. So they can be as simple or as elaborate as you want. Are your challenge groups a set 21 days? No, a lot of people are, I almost always exclusively start people on the 21-day fix, probably 90% of the time. So the idea is if you're on a 30-day program, you just keep going. You keep posting your accountability. You keep doing what you're doing. I think I've just switched over to the challenge tracker app, which is a little scary for me because I'm trying to fully embrace it. But I'm also, so I don't have to start a new group every single month because it's such a pain in the butt to get invitations out to it and get everybody set. I think what I'm going to do is do it 3 months at a time. And then at the end of that 3 months, kind of clear it out. And that allows me to clear out people that maybe aren't, you know, whatever. And then kind of start afresh. And just not, because I've done it also in my Facebook group where I've just added people. And then I've got 500 people in an accountability group and 20 of them are posting. And that's not cool either. So doing it kind of every 3 months, I think will allow me to just clear things out and start over and give people a fresh start. Okay, any other questions? Oh my gosh, I got to plug my computer and I'm going to walk to the other room because I just saw that it's going to die. What else, guys? Nothing? I hope you learned something.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you were talking about Melanie Mitro's marketing system, is this a video that we could go watch, or like what? Or it's all the printables? What exactly?
100% you can go watch it. I've probably watched it 25 times. Like literally just go on YouTube and search Melanie Mitro monthly marketing plan and it pops up. And it'll be really great because it's a short video. It's like 20 minutes or 17 minutes or something. It'll be really great because I gave you the monthly marketing plan, but to hear it again, like that's how I felt when I was in LA. Like I got it on a whole new level, you know? Yeah.
So kind of going back to what Barbie was saying though earlier. So when you're doing those like crazy invites, 50 a day, where are you getting all of those people? I know, like, I'm sure you have a big contact list that you go back to for all the follow-ups, but what about new people to bring into your world?
Yeah. So, you know, it's funny when I get this question because I just followed directions when I got here and I added people to my network every single day. And it really is as simple as if you say you add 5 people to your network every day. And, you know, a lot of times I will add, say I add 5 people. And then I don't write them down on my list until they've accepted my friend request, because if you send them a message and they're not your friend yet, they're not going to see it. So they accept my friend request, and then I send them a message that says like, hey girl, I'm so glad we connected. Oh my gosh, we have so many friends in common. How do we not know each other better? Or, you know, hey girl, it's so great to connect. It looks like we, you know, have tons in common. Where do you teach bar? Like, I look for connective tissue on their wall. And this is time consuming, but it's also really fulfilling to connect with other human beings and find that. I mean, there's so many times I stumble across somebody and I'm like, it really truly is that, like, how do I not know this girl? I feel like she's my new best friend. We have so much in common, you know? So you're looking for those people. And where do you find those people? Wherever. Most often I will go to my friends. Think about this. Think about the friend that's on your dream team that will not say yes to the coaching opportunity. Go to their friends list and start adding their friends. They're going to be like, wait a second, my friends are signing up with you to do this coaching thing. And, you know, I said no, not because you're doing it for that reason, but because if you have somebody that you think is your dream team coach, they probably have friends too. So like the other day, I just went to a friend of mine, owns a spin studio, and I went to his friends list, and, you know, we're in the same town. There were probably 100 people on his friends list that look like me. Like Barbie was saying, how do you find these people? Like, they look like me. They go to spin class, you know, a couple times a week. They're into fitness. They're moms. They're around my age. I have 20 mutual friends in common with probably 100 people on his list, but we're not friends yet. So I'm like, add. That day I might add 50 people. And then I don't have to add anybody the rest of the week. I'm an addict through and through. So I've always much rather, like, well, if you're going to tell me I need to add 50 friends by the end of the month, I'm just going to add 50 the first day. Like, let me just do it. Let me just get that over with and move on to the next thing. So a lot of times I'll do that. I'll add 25 in a day. And when they ping me back and I get their friend request that accepted, I shoot them a message with some connective tissue. Then hopefully the conversation starts. But again, 50 people a month of doing that, by month 6, you have 300 people on your list that you're inviting and following up with. Does that help? Yeah. Great. What else? Yes, Erin.
Did you see my comment in the chat that I wrote? Did it come through?
I'm having a hard time getting people to pull the trigger once I have all these conversations going.
That's like my main thing that I struggle with, I think.
Mm-hmm. So my guess is it is energy, attitude, assuming the sale, you know, and let me backtrack to energy. Like, so often it's, oh my gosh, I am so excited for you. Like, this is going to be life-changing. Like, I just sent you a meal plan. Just go ahead and start on that. Like, you are assuming the sale. You are so excited. You have gotten them so hyped up and excited and 100% knowing that you are going to help transform whatever they need to transform. And you are going to help them meet their goals, that they are 100% game on. Like, by the time someone is sent a link, there's just no questions asked. Now, we all know that always happens. They never pull the flipping trigger, but you have to have that energy and that vibe and that excitement for them.
So basically, confidence. Confidence,
100%. Confidence and belief in the product and belief in your challenge group. And yeah, that's 100% what it boils down to. And Amy, you know, was just talking about that the other day. Amy Silverman's my upline, and just talking about like the whole idea of assuming the sale and literally sending them something of value, because I think that's huge. And I'm trying to do more of that. And I try to do more of that even if they say no. If I'm like, you know, no worries, if it's not good timing, I totally get that. Here, I'm going to send you this. Why don't you get started with that? And hopefully that'll help you. And then they're kind of like, wow, this girl's kind of cool. She just gave me something free when I said no. You know? Yeah. What else? Anybody? Nothing?
Okay, I have one more.
Yeah.
So when you are recruiting, Do you find that you are basically turning your challengers into coaches and that's how you're getting coaches, or do you reach out a lot? Because I just read the book Get Over Your Damn Self.
Yeah.
And it's a great book, but you know, her main focus is whenever you're inviting to the coaching opportunity. And I sometimes feel like it's just not always the right thing to do. So how do you lead with that?
So I think every situation is completely individual, and you lead where you just said right there. Like, you know what the right way to do it. Like, this person is going to be so much better starting as a challenger and then trying to get them into this way. This person, 100%, they're a fitness professional. They're not making enough money training. They need something in their life. I'm just going to sit them down and like totally explain the coaching opportunity to them. Like, every single person's going to be different. And I just think there's no right or wrong way. There's no invite everybody to the coach opportunity. There's no, and start every single person as a challenger. It's just totally different. And that's my team. I mean, a lot of my diamonds started 100% as challengers. You would never think they would be a health coach in a million years. I mean, one of them I love having on my sneak peek because I have a health and fitness background. And then I always have her talk after me, and she's like, okay, so I'm Cece. I hate exercising and eating healthy. And it's true. So I've got people like that are diamond coaches. But then I've also had like Erin Hopkins. She was on the National Wake Up Call. And then Jolie McLeod, who is her coach, who was on the National Wake Up Call. They were both fitness professionals. And so, let me speak to that briefly, because they both came in uberly successful out of the gates, like times 100 of what all my other coaches have done. So there was something, I had to look at that. I had to look at like, well, why were these girls so ridiculously successful out of the gate when it took these other ones a lot longer? And it's not that there's a right or wrong, but they had a fitness background, so they had a warm market to pull from. But what I will say about Erin and Jolie, as much as I talked to Erin, I tried to recruit her as a coach, and I tried to recruit Jolie as a coach. Erin finally reached out to me, and I did say to Erin, as I say to every single person, even if they're coming straight into coaching, you have to do a challenge 110%. You have to dial it into a T and have this experience of being a challenger. Now, the beauty of that is Erin needed that. Erin couldn't get the extra weight off. She was postpartum. She was like depressed. She needed the challenge, just like so many people need the challenge. So she had that transforming experience, and then she went on to be really successful. Here's something that, again, I'm like, failure right here. Really good to learn from. Jolie turned me down 1,000 times. She lives one street over. She's not my personally sponsored coach. She's Erin's personally sponsored coach, because Erin led with the challenge. And Jolie's really fit, and she's a yogi and a personal trainer. I didn't think she needed the challenge, so I never would have approached her. I would have thought that was insulting. And she was like, she felt like I was selling her into like the coach opportunity, and that really put her off. And so she ended up coming in again authentically as a challenger, even though it was kind of simultaneously knowing that she was hopefully going to step into this coach thing. The common denominator that I will say I have with every single diamond coach on my team is that their life was transformed by the challenge, whether it was through personal development or weight loss or a community of people to be a part of. And it can be any of those things. So it doesn't have to be, somebody can come into this that's super fit, but their life is transformed by the people. Their life is transformed by the idea of doing personal development every day. And because of that transformation, they have a huge desire to pass this gift on. And that's what happened. That's my story. It's much more difficult for me to work with people that come to me, like fitness professionals that are like kind of coming to me 100% for the opportunity, and their life's really great. I'm like, I don't know if you really have a chance at this, because I honestly believe that my most successful coaches come to me the most broken. And I was at a huge broken place in my life when I stepped into this. And that's why I have the passion for it that I do. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, just one more question. Actually, I feel like that's so super true because like I didn't start in a broken place, but I got to a broken place, and then that was what like lit my fire to start this again. So I totally agree with what you just said completely. Yeah. But of course, but I just was wondering if anybody else or if you had any experience with like the challenge tracker app. Does it seem like it's hard to get people to engage on the app a little bit?
You know.
And also, like one of my challengers, she told me that she actually forgot she had signed up for the challenge tracker app, and so she forgot to be signing in.
Yeah. So I'm totally new to this game because I've done the challenge tracker app like when we had the health bets, and I hated it because I had such a community on Facebook. But I also recognize the advantages of just getting off social media. Some people aren't even on social media. And what I have found, and I think this is true, that when you start people on the challenge tracker app, because now I've done both, you start people on the challenge tracker app and you try to move them to Facebook, they hate Facebook. They're like, I don't want to be on social media. Like, this was my world. It was private. It was separate. It was awesome. And now you just moved me back to, you put me on Facebook? Like, I'm not comfortable posting sweaty selfies on Facebook. I know you say it's private, but is it really, you know, that whole thing? People that started on Facebook absolutely hate the challenge tracker app, which was me, you know? And so I finally fully embraced it, but this is why I've embraced it. The idea of I still need to feel like I have some type of community on Facebook, and like, what happens with this group over here? Well, what happens with this group over here is I run free groups in that group now. Mm-hmm. So there is a community space on my Facebook that I put people into where they can derive a lot of value, where there's a freemium. I'm running my 3-day refresh group in my Facebook group. It's the same group all the time. I'm gonna run my freemiums. I'm not creating a new group, and there's no right or wrong here, because I think there's pros and cons to both. I'm not creating a new group every time I run a freemium. I'm doing it in the same hub. So it's like, here's this space on Facebook. Here's where the challenge takes place. But this is the other shift that I think I had, which helped me embrace the challenge tracker app, is when you've got free groups on Facebook, it does feel very different, and it feels of more value to say, when people are like, well, tell me about this challenge group. And it's like, oh, well, we have this exclusive app that's totally separate. We run the group through there. Like, it feels like, wow, you just got this exclusive membership to this higher level. It's not just another Facebook group because we're all in 100 of them, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think that helps to differentiate, but then you also keep, you know, I put people in both. So I don't know if that helps, Erin. I hope so.
So wait, when you say you run your free groups in your big hub, so like I have Danielle's Fit Fam group where I basically have all of my customers and maybe some people like not even paid, but I'm just helping and adding value to them. You run your free groups through that?
Well, I'm just back to running free groups. So I'm a little new back to this, but yes, I ran my sugar group in that group, and then I didn't even change the banner. I just said, this is where it's happening. And then my 3-day refresh was in there, because here's where I get really overwhelmed, and I'm sure you guys feel this way. I'm like, okay, I have a like page, I have a personal page, I have a challenge group, I have free groups, I have my challenge group. Where's the line between all of these? Like, I'm trying to add all this value on my personal page, but then I need to add value on my like page. But then shouldn't my challengers get another level of value? Like, it's just too many things. And so I'm trying to create as few places as possible. So if I'm putting 10 things of content out in a day, which that sounds like way a lot. I never do that. But let's just say I'm putting 10 things out, then they're going in 3 different places, and I'm not being spread so thin. So again, I feel like this business is always like, you try something for a few months and then you kind of shift gears a little bit, and you try that for a few months and then you shift gears. So this is just where I am right now. I think one of the best things I ever heard, and this was right, I think, when the challenge tracker came out, and I was so angry and I was so irritated, and I was like, why are they changing things? And I heard Barbie on a national wake up call talk about when Facebook came out, and they were like, what is this Facebook thing? This is so annoying. Like, you know, and like, where in the world would we be without Facebook and without embracing Facebook? So I always try to push myself through the, you know, my limiting beliefs about, like, I hate the challenge tracker app. You know, I've finally gotten past that. Anything else, guys? Denise, did you just have a hand up? Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
yes. Do you not run your challenge groups through Facebook at all anymore? Are you just doing challenge tracker? Because I was doing mine where I was doing a challenge tracker group and a Facebook group at the same time, naming them the same thing. And then some people I find won't post in the Facebook, but they'll post in the challenge tracker.
I 100% agree. And that's exactly what I was doing. And again, I was just spread too thin, and it was like the energy was being split. And so neither one felt great.
Yeah.
And my thought process is this, and I've actually gotten in like full on kind of confrontations with my coaches about this. I 150% believe that they have to download and track their containers in the 21-Day Fix app. You cannot ask a brand new challenger to do the 21-Day Fix app, the challenge tracker app, and a Facebook group. You can't. It's way too much. It's so confusing for them. Now, if Beachbody would only, if you could, you should be able to track your containers in the challenge tracker app. Why can we not do that? I mean, it drives me insane. I'm like, it's called the tracker app. Why can we not track our containers? Hopefully that will change.
That will be next.
And then that's maybe where it shifts back to like, okay, now this makes sense. Now it makes sense for me to have this community home base on Facebook and this one tracker. But you can't ask people to do 3. And I think the tracking of the containers in the 21-Day Fix app is 100%. They gotta do it to be successful.
I have to get my coaches. I have my coaches right now. Most of my coaches are in the group with me in my big challenge groups. I'm trying to get them to branch out.
So here's something I just did, Denise. There's pros and cons to that too. You know, every time a coach leaves, I lose value because I make them bring value to my group. I say, I want you to post recipes on Wednesdays and Fridays. Okay, Susie, you're going to post motivational quotes. If you're a brand new coach and you're scared, you're going to put a motivational quote up every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like, you have a job. It's a lot to manage, but you have to give them a job. And so when they do branch out and leave, I'm like mixed emotions. Like, I kind of want them out, but I kind of want them in, you know? But I just did this. So I was co-leading a group with a coach in the challenge tracker app. So I do the pin post Monday, Wednesday, Friday. She does the pin post Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Again, it's like, whew, what a relief. I don't have to do it every single day. But I paired her up with another coach of mine. They're like at the same place, and they're both kind of ready to do their own thing, but not really. And they're very similar. Mm-hmm. And I reached out on a message and I was like, hey, you guys, I just thought about this. I think you'd be amazing success partners. I think if you can ever find a truly like a business partner to just run your challenge groups with, it's double the value, double the work, double the energy, and well, I should say half the work. It's an amazing thing to find. And they were both like, oh my God, that's the best thing we've ever, like, they're so on fire about they're starting their own challenge group together on Monday. Perfect. And they're so excited. And so I feel like I did just like let them fly, but I feel so good about letting them fly. Like, I don't feel like, oh, they might crash and burn, you know?
Yeah, I have a couple that I think should fly. I think they just need a little push.
Yeah, so have them do it together.
Push, but encourage. Yeah. That they can do it.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, the other thing that I always tell people when I'm trying to push them is when they start bringing on their own discount coaches, I'm like, listen, you guys, you're never going to build a team and build your own coaches up in my group. You have to have your own group, and they're scared to do it. And I tell them, I'm like, listen, have Sally do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Sharon do this on Friday and Saturday. And they're like, oh. And then all of a sudden their discount coaches are coaching and they're loving it and they're feeling so a part of, and they're stepping into leadership without even realizing it. And they're getting hungry to actually coach. You know, like, that's how it happens. So you do have to kind of push them a little bit sometimes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, guys, it's 12:56. I feel like I've kept you on way too long. Anything else? No? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. It's been so fun talking with all of you. I love getting to know Barbie's team and just this whole group. It's really, really just super fun to kind of branch out. I'm going to stop recording.